Welcome to this week's book review with Neville Gibson. In a week dominated by the Queen's funeral, you've been reading a new novel, Neville, called The Unfolding by A.M. Homes. How are the two related?
Well, they aren't really, except that there's two big novels that just come out. One is by Ian McEwan, called Lessons, and the other's A.M. Homes. And she's not really well known, but I sort of started reading her books and short stories in the 90s, but they're very confronting. But this is her first novel in 10 years, and so I thought about time too. Bigger too, I must say, than her earlier books, but we'll learn a little bit today about her and her background and what the book's about.
You say in the review that this book is about the big guy who, along with his friends, are trying to reclaim what they say is the American dream. What's the connection to Donald Trump, if anything, with the big guy?
Well, I would call it Make America Great Again, but it's actually about political situation in America in 2008 when Barack Obama was elected. John McCain, he features right at the beginning of the book, he loses. And this is really about a collection of rich guys, a billionaire, and they plot basically how they can frustrate the new administration. So the book starts on election night in Phoenix. It ends pretty much with the inauguration, and I won't give anything away about that.
Are you sure it's fiction?
There's a lot of deep research in it, that's for sure. But that's it's about Republican politics and people involved in it.
From my understanding, though, apart from the politics, there's actually a sort of family drama in behind the story as well.
Yeah, that's A.M. Homes is basically, she writes about dysfunctional people and sudden things, and while a lot of it's about a criminal act or violence and that sort of thing, she doesn't write thrillers. There's no police involved. And sure, the big guy who's the main character, his wife, he basically gets her put into the Betty Ford clinic to dry out as an alcoholic, and there's an 18-year-old daughter. Now, they live over in on the west coast of America. She is sent to school in Washington, D.C., which is where A.M. Homes went to college as well. So there's the 18-year-old daughter. I won't give away too much about that, but between the three of them and his plotting with his mates, it's a pretty big read.
Should we read any other books by A.M. Homes? I understand she's written 13.
Yeah, well, this is her 7th novel. The last novel was 10 years ago. It's called May We Be Forgiven. She's written some short story books. Day of Awe would be the main one, but you want to know a bit more about her. And she's not exactly a private person, but people don't know a lot about her. But she was actually an adopted. Her mother was a young mistress of a rich older guy. And you can sort of see that coming out in this book. And the mother later tried to track her down, and she was really pissed off about that. And that took up her memoir, which is called A Mistress's Daughter. So if you haven't heard of A.M. Homes, there's plenty of good books to go on, and those three I'd recommend.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Neville Gibson.
Pleasure.